Hello, welcome back. Today we are discussing episode 47 of the Play Dicely campaign, Down to Earth. We start the episode by skipping back for a hot sec to Abe's death. In the previous episode, Abe died along with a number of the rest of us, but Abe died for the longest. We did revive him, but we're time skipping back now to Abe's experience of the afterlife. So we are experiencing a time between life and death for Abe, and he is wandering these smoky halls. Behind him, he can feel this black figure with a white mask that follows behind him. But then all of a sudden, everything changes. His vision is completely blacked out, and then when he turns around again, a creature sits there, one that he recognizes from when he tried to separate himself from Malden back in Ballenbridge. A giant, hulking creature with long claws that scrape along the ground and create sparks. And this creature looks at Abe and tells him that he's been looking for him. Essentially, this creature is interested in Abe's body, but they recognize that they have a common enemy. They both want to kill Malden. And so this creature is trying to propose a deal of sorts. He can help Abe achieve his goals if Abe gives him the body afterwards. Abe is very clever, though, and isn't so quick to make a deal. It's a good trait to have, actually. Elwyn could learn a thing or two from that. Well, we resurrect Abe in the living world, and I don't believe that this is the last we will see of this. But with Abe back to life, albeit exhausted, the group of us now sit together on these clouds. But Drac and Archdruid Huiyan speak, and we learn more about how this druid was connected to Drac's culture. Throughout the history of Darrowcarth, many members of the community have heard from Vishtak. And as Drac and Huiyan speak here together, Drac begins to realize that the person who was speaking to them was Huiyan himself. We now know that Vishtak, as a single entity, has not existed for quite some time. He has split into multiple gods, and it appears like these archdruids each are one of the many heads of Vishtak. Drac grapples with the idea that he is suddenly face-to-face speaking with the god he has worshipped his entire life, but really handles himself quite well, all things considered. Afterwards, the group continues to kind of explore this area. There's a whole other ledge to this mountain that we didn't go up to before, so a bunch of us go up there. Open-aired temple kind of up there. In the middle of it, we find another one of these pedestals like we saw in the previous Druid Enclave. And previously, when Azaria looked into an object like this, it gave them a clue about the next Druid Enclave. And so Azaria does that again here. They look into this basin, and it's got this mirror coating on it. So Azaria offers a piece of themselves to this mirror, and once they do, the mirror begins to kind of shimmer and start to reflect back something different and give another vision to Azaria. And in this vision, Azaria is transported underground. They are moving through these dugout tunnels, quickly moving left and right. They seem to know which way they're going. Occasionally, they break into these larger caverns. It looks like perhaps people lived here or do live here. It appears as though they're underneath hills, and Azaria can recognize the roots of the plants that must grow above this seem to be swamp plants. Eventually, Azaria finds a well down here, and they look down into it and see only darkness, and then just their own face reflected back at them, and they are back on the clouds in the Air Temple Enclave. So it appears our next enclave is underground, which makes sense because I believe we knew that this next enclave is the Earth Elemental Enclave. Also, while we're here, the party shows off some of their new fun little party tricks. Drac can fly now, Azaria has an owl, and when we're done with all of this, we make our way back down to where Abe and Gideon are still resting. Abe has fallen asleep here in these clouds, and so the rest of us set up camp here as well. In the morning, after a well-deserved long rest, we decide to contact the Learned Circle. We get a hold of them and we ask them about what's going on with Balesville, and if we need to come back to Brawlbar or if we can continue our way towards that next enclave. It seems like there's instability in Brawlbar and in the Ascendancy. We figure we might as well go and check it out at least. Especially as we do take the time now to go back and chat with the druid again, and he tells us more about this next enclave and what we can expect. He lets us know that the entrance to this enclave only opens once a month, and it seems to have something to do with lunar cycles, maybe tide cycles. Huiyan also tells us at this point that we probably have about 4.5 months to get all these druids together, which doesn't sound like a whole lot of time, but is enough time to go to Bralbar. Huiyan also gives Azaria a little clue that they should maybe go meditate in that spot that their mother used to be, and maybe that will unlock some more better understanding of why their mother was standing there. As we're trying to figure out how we're going to do this, the Archdruid lets us know that he can help us at least get back down there, and transforms into this big crystal dragon. He believes he has some explaining to do to the citizens of Darrow-Karth and offers to give us a lift. So we all climb onto the back of this literal god, and it flies us down back to Darrow-Karth. Basically, every person in Darrow-Karth comes out to watch this dragon land, and of course the 6 of us awkwardly slide off its back. And while Huiyan meets with the elders of this area, the rest of us take the moment to just breathe. Most of the group goes off to the hot springs to relax, but Abe and Eluin just head back to Drax's house to be on our own for a little bit. Abe goes to sleep. Eluin takes a moment to do some research and self-reflection and try to figure out what is, going on with this stranger. Nell actually also doesn't go to the hot springs. Nell kind of goes on a little walk of their own and ends up down at the Rowanay Springs, where they kind of sit and self-reflect as well and play some music and hang out with the animals, and it sounds very Disney princess and lovely. Eventually, Huiyan makes his way down here as well. We all connect back up, and he flies us the rest of the way down the mountain towards Varmhall Village. He can't get us quite all the way there, but most of the way. We only have a couple more hours of trekking to do from this point. And Nell teaches us about how her and her siblings and cousins and whoever used to use this mountain to go shield tobogganing. They put shields on the Rocky Mountain and slide their way down. The youth of the group partake in this activity, while Azaria uses this moment to reveal that they can now wild shape. They turn into a little deer and start hopping around. And as there is not a single chance that Eluin is going to get on one of these shields, she climbs onto Azaria's back instead, and the 2 of them hop, skip, jump their way down this mountain. The rest of them just spin, tumble down the mountain on these shields. It's actually a very fun, wholesome moment for the group that we desperately needed after the last couple of days we've had. And so next session, we're gonna be back in Bralbar. Maybe we're gonna go see our keep, although that does put us awfully close to the Wilder portal. Or maybe we're gonna have to go to Balesville and kill Cardric Mithwacote or something, Who knows? Who knows? The world's our oyster. But if you would like to join us live and see how this unfolds together, you can do so at twitch.tv/playdicely next Sunday, April 16th at 6 p.m. Eastern. But until then, my friends, I hope you're staying happy, staying kind, and as always, remembering to play dicely. Goodbye!